He guns down all 4 adults, but leaving the 7-month-old baby alive, placing the baby at the doorstep of a nearby neighbor. But why the killings? Why spare this child? Welcome. I'm a licensed professional counselor, and I talk about crime psychology. Today, we're going to look at the Austin Drummond case. It all unfolded in late July of 2025. It was in the rural stretches of western Tennessee, a place where people leave their doors unlocked. They know their neighbor, they're friendly. And yet, this tragedy happened out of the blue. The victims were very close to one another. Adriana was 20 years old. She was a young mother. Her partner, James, was there as well, including her mother, Courtney. She was 39. She worked at a correction facility. And then her younger brother was 15 years old, Braden. Such a tragedy that happened in a blink of an eye. They lived modest lives in Dyer County. They focused on family, and especially Adriana and her partner James as they were raising their 7-month-old daughter. On July 29th, 2025, everything changed. A resident in the nearby area found the 7-month-old baby, and she was still in her car seat, and she was right there at her doorstep. She was alone, but she was unharmed. There was no note, no explanation. It was just a child left behind all by herself. It was a good thing that the neighbor was there and was able to save this little child and protect this little child. She was alone, and she had no idea that her mom and dad were brutally murdered just minutes before. All of the victims had gunshots. Somebody had walked into the home and shot them all point blank. Initial reports painted the scene as a target attack. There were no signs of a break-in. There were no signs of a struggle. It was if these people knew the person coming in and they did not know that the person coming in was going to kill them. That's exactly what happened. Police quickly pieced together the evidence, and the suspect quickly became Austin Drummond, 28 years old, and he was no stranger to law enforcement. Austin had ties to the family that he had just brutally murdered. His girlfriend was the sister of Courtney. Courtney was the mom of Adriana. That piece of information that Drummond knew his victims, that really put the community on edge, and it made the investigators want to hunt even more. We don't know why Austin did what he did. We don't have all the evidence yet. We don't have a motive, but it's clear that this was a target attack. Austin knew what he was doing. He knew ahead of time. He premeditated it. He had the weapon. He went in there very quickly and killed all 4 people. Warrants went out for Drummond almost immediately, and they charged him with 4 counts of first-degree murder and aggravated kidnapping for taking the baby. Drummond had vanished into the thick woods of Tennessee. It sparked a massive manhunt. Austin was able to evade the authorities for about a week, and they saw footage of Austin trying to break into homes. He was wearing camouflage, he had a gun, and he was acting very strange. Well, because he was on the run. He wanted to hide. He needed somewhere to go. He caused local schools to go on lockdown and people sheltered in place. This was a massive hunt for a violent killer, armed and dangerous. And then tips poured in on Austin's whereabouts, and the police eventually grabbed him in the woods. It turns out that there were 3 other people that knew Austin, and they gave him shelter and tried to hide him. One of them even tampered with evidence, and all 3 were charged with accessories after the fact. Then came the arrest on August 5th. After the sightings near the wooded area in Jackson, officers closed in behind a vacant pool house, and that's where he was. They found Austin unarmed. He was likely surprised. He had no idea that they were there, but they did recover firearms nearby. No shootout, no yelling, no trying to run. It was a quiet takedown. And Austin knew he was caught. He had nowhere to go. And so he surrendered. In court 2 days later, Austin appeared on camera from the jail in Tiptonville. The judge entered a non-guilty plea because he didn't have a lawyer yet. He was denied bond and set for hearing on August 14th. And prosecutors wasted no time announcing that they would seek the death penalty, emphasizing the calculated nature of the shootings. What stands out as bizarre in this case is that Drummond went into the house and methodically killed all 4 people. And yet when he saw the baby, he took the baby unharmed where he knew an adult would help the baby survive. In a case that's full of targeted killings, that seems out of place that he would not kill even more. But this was a baby, couldn't talk, couldn't identify him. Maybe he had a moment of empathy for this little child. I want to talk about the psychology of Drummond here. This is not a diagnosis. This is my speculations based on what we know from court evidence, from his past, from his behaviors, actions that he took. I don't have any access to evaluations, so this is purely my speculations here. Drummond had a history. When he was 16, he robbed a convenience store at gunpoint in Jackson. He got 10 years for that, then added time for threatening jurors from prison. And so here's a violent person from, as a teenager, somehow he had access to a gun and he committed crimes against people, dangerous crimes. He was released in September 2024 after 11 years total for committing those crimes. And then he faced charges almost immediately for attempted murder from a prison incident, plus a drug bust on his release day. The day that he was going to be released, he had drugs. They busted him. This is a repeat offender. Prison is not going to reform him. He's not going to change by going to prison. He was out on bond when the murders happened. How does this guy get released from jail knowing that he is a violent offender? And that's what really caused a lot of issues in the community. Many people were angry that he was released. And a district attorney once said that Drummond had little interest of reform. He wasn't going to change. He didn't want to change. He didn't think he needed to change. He was going to commit violent acts. And now he committed the ultimate violence of killing these 4 people. His background suggests someone who is wired for control and retaliation, maybe traits aligned with antisocial personality disorder, patterns where rules don't apply to him. And think about the betrayal here. He knew this family because his girlfriend was related to the mom. And there was an element of trust that he exploited here. We don't know why he committed these murders, but we can see the actions that he intentionally went in there to target these people. Even though we don't know the motive, we can speculate that there was a personal grudges that he had with the family. We don't know exactly what they could have been or who specifically. Maybe there was one person that he was targeting, but then he had to kill everybody because they witnessed it. Sparing the baby can hit to selective empathy. Maybe he saw her as innocent, or it was pragmatic to avoid even more serious charges. I tend to think it was more, this was a baby who could not ID him. And so why kill a baby? There's part of him that has a little bit of humanity. So he spared this baby. In mental health terms, this mirrors cases where offenders compartmentalize. They can say, I justify myself doing this bad thing, but I'm not going to do this bad thing. They can identify something that is crossing the line. Even for them, they have some moral line and boundary that they won't cross. And for Drummond, he was not going to cross killing the baby. In addition to antisocial personality disorder traits here, he also shows psychopathic traits because he lacks emotions, he lacks empathy, he lacks compassion. He just has a target in mind and he is going to slaughter the family no matter what. High-functioning psychopaths often plan ahead. They can be very meticulous on their plans. I'm not sure that Drummond is showing high-functioning psychopathic traits here. I think it's just plain psychopathic traits. He may have known that somebody was in the house. I don't think he planned it all out. I don't think he knew that the baby was going to be there. But again, this is me trying to piece this all together. There's so many other things we don't know yet, but these behaviors really highlight marks of antisocial personality disorder, psychopathic disorder, and mental health issues that he likely developed when he was young. Conduct disorder comes to mind as well. What draws me to this even more is the betrayal here. This was not a random, impulsive killing. He knew these people. He went there for a sole purpose to kill them. And the victims likely welcomed him in their home. They weren't alarmed. They weren't there to defend themselves. They thought he was a friend of the family. And yet, he did this to them. This is such a tragedy of these 4 members of this family were gunned down by someone that they knew. This little baby is going to grow up without her parents and knowing that this is a part of her history. It's such a sad case. What do you think about this case? Let me know your thoughts. If you have an interesting psychological twist of true crime that you think would be interesting for me to look at, let me know. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay curious, stay safe.